In the shadows of the system, families torn apart. Tiff and the Punisher rise up. It's time to fight from the heart.
CPA's knocking at the door with lies and twisted fires, stealing kids in the dead of night, erasing all our smiles. Courtrooms rigged, judges blind, rights stripped away so fast. But we know the Constitution, we're breaking free at last.
Fight CPS,
Expose the corruption,
parental rights,
our revolution.
Tiff and the Punisher, we're taking a stand. Reunite families across the land.
Abolish the abuse, restore what they took. With knowledge and fire, we're rewriting the book.
Child support chains, police at the gate, family court battles, sealing our fate. But warriors unite, share your stories bold. Constitutional shields turning fear into gold. From investigations to reform, we demand no more violations. We'll reclaim our stand. Hear the voices rising, echoes in the hall. Parents fighting back, we won't let them fall.
Join the community, amplify the call. Tiff and the Punisher will conquer it all.
Fight CPS,
Expose the corruption,
parental rights,
our revolution.
Tiff and the Punisher, we're taking a stand. Reunite families across the land.
Abolish the abuse, restore what they took. With knowledge and fire, we're writing the book. Subscribe, share and rise, together we're strong. Tiff and the Punisher, this is our song.
Fight CPS.
We won't stand for corruption. We won't stand for stealing kids. This is the Tiff and the Punisher podcast, now joined by the angry citizen. This is a powerful trio, set out to spread the Constitution. This is a powerful trio, set out to stop the evil CPS.
We won't stand for corruption, and we won't stand for stealing kids. This is the Tiff and the Punisher podcast, now joined by the angry citizen.
We,
Darren, my man.
Mr. Dana, Tiff.
Hey, there's
Good to
our
see you
big
both.
bird.
It's Friday night. Are we excited
It
about
is. Yes, Kingston said, "Oh my God, Yaya, look, there's a Barbie doll on your show." I said, "I
no,
know,
this?
isn't she beautiful?"
It's so great. So here it is, guys. This is what we've all been waiting for here, and I'm really hoping that at the end of this, that everybody comes to an equal understanding where everybody stands, and I'm hoping that this doesn't end in any sort of an animosity or any goodness. I think that this is a positive direction that the movement could end up in. That's what I'm really hoping for out of this. I mean, I don't know. What are you thinking there, Tiff?
Yeah, I'm hoping so too, because in all honesty, everybody that's in this movement has something different to bring to the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if we would all just come together and bring what we have, we really
Amen.
true. Well, we're getting somewhere here in Virginia, but
Mm-hmm.
we could really move this thing so much further. But everybody wants to be attacking everybody and talking about everybody, and I'm over it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like us, don't watch us.
That's right.
That's
Dana,
right.
So
what's your hopes here, buddy?
I'm thinking we're going to have a rational, logical debate, discussion. It's okay to disagree. At the end of the day, I'm all about facts. I've said many times, as you know, the truth is the sword of God. All right. And I have opinions and I have ideas. And anything I say, any claim I make, I am prepared to back it up with facts. And if you think I'm wrong, you need to prove me wrong. And if you do, I will concede. Prove me wrong, I will concede. That's the core of the debate, the discussion. We present our facts, we present our evidence. If you tell me something I think is wrong, I will tell you I believe you're wrong, and I will show you why. That's where we need to go with this.
That's right. So I brought in an extra special host for us right now. I brought in the legend himself, Mr. Vincent Davis. He's the one that got me even going in this whole podcasting world and everything. I sat with him for, almost a year on his platform, and he's the one that taught me everything. The one thing that sticks with me to this day that he says, Darren, there's two things that don't happen in family law. There's two things that don't belong in family law. There's two things that don't happen in there. The truth isn't told, and the law isn't argued. And those are the two things that I remember that Davis always told me. I know I said it wrong. I'm sure he's going to correct me. But let's get him out here and let's see what he
Bring him in.
what he
Let's
said.
hear him say it.
Let's hear Mr. Davis say it. Mr. Davis,
Good evening, all.
how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it,
Oh,
Darren.
this is exciting. This is
The
exciting.
mentee has become the mentor.
No,
Nice.
Mr. Davis, you will always be that, my friend. Always, always. I still to this day, I still speak highly of you. I talk about you all the time. So
Well,
and
thank you. I appreciate that. I want to say one thing to Tiffany.
mhm.
Young lady, you have it exactly right. We cannot be fighting each other.
Thank
I've
you.
been in this movement over 30 years, and I've seen people just fight and tear down each other.
Mhm.
We are not the enemy. The enemy is CPS. Don't ever get that twisted. We need all of us to vote as a block
Thank you.
nationwide, state to state, federal,
Mhm.
and we need that person you disagree with.
Mhm.
So, Tiffany, you are exactly right. Let's join together despite our differences and make a change.
I love this guy.
I told you, Mr. Davis is the damn man.
Dude, I've been saying this for so long. And let me say this. The devil loves discord. The strongest power the devil has, the devil loves to lie, and the devil loves discord, and that is getting his enemies to fight among themselves because he doesn't have to spend one moment of energy fighting against people if he can get them to fight each other. We have to
That's right.
stop that. and unite on what we agree on.
Hey,
Mr.
have you ever put 5 or 6 crabs in a small bucket and watch that no crab will ever make it out? Because once one is trying to get out or making it, the other one pulls him down back into the bucket. We cannot be crabs in a bucket. We have to support each other. We have to get our votes. We have to change laws. We have to vote in the right judges. If your state, has voting for judges. And this is done by people who you disagree with.
Mhm. Well said.
So let's get ourselves together.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it, Mr. Davis. That's great. See, that comes from the man right there. You
Slam
realize
it.
between Tiffany and him, you have over a half of century of skill and workmanship in this industry. But Davis, I gotta taunt this for you because I know that I was with you first and you were my mentor, you still are. But Tiffany has one of these, Mr. Davis. Look at this.
Oh, wow. What was that?
That's the NAACP Presidential Award that she won this past.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's great. I couldn't have gotten a better second to you, Mr. Davis. But that all being said, we got Jessica Saxton and we got Lewis Ewan back here, and those two are they're ready to tell us what they know, what they don't know, and we're going to hear what it is that they needed to say. That they're all fired up. So let's get live. Let's do like a little intro of each of them, and then we'll let them go at it. Right? Fair enough. All right, let's bring out Miss Saxton first. We'll bring her out. I'm going to find her here. No, she's here. And there she is. Jessica, how are you?
Good. How are y'all doing?
We're good. We're good. Do you want to, why don't you give everybody a little introduction of yourself and tell everybody what you are about, what you do, what you think you want to do, or whatever. Just give us an introduction of you.
Sure. So my name is Jessica Saxton. I got started in this advocacy world, not by choice, but out of necessity. And that was as a result of family court, watching the injustices happen right before my eyes, not being able to understand or make sense of any of it. Once I reached out to other families that had the same judge as me, that's when I realized that this was a systemic issue, at the very least within our small county. At the time, I did not realize that this was happening nationwide, had no clue until I started searching on some of the groups on Facebook and talking with other people in California and Maine and Washington State. And it literally was the same playbook. And, I have a high level for justice, always been that way. I was the person in school that would punch the pretty girl for picking on the, the person that they didn't like. And
Nice.
had a couple of fights like that in my life. And so I have a very high level for justice. And I just thought, this can't happen anymore. And I don't know what to do. I mean, I technically started this publicly on April 8th after they took my daughter. So less than a year. And I'll be the first to admit that I didn't know at the time what I was doing. All I know is that we have to expose injustices that's happening. We must get these children back to their families. And we've got to abolish family court because they cannot continue to profit off of the destruction of our families. And so that is my main ministry. That's what I'm out to accomplish.
Awesome.
Well said.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
Do we have any questions for Jessica? Anybody here on the panel? Or do we any questions that you want to come up with real quick? Or do you want to move on to Lewis? Mr. Davis, you got any questions?
What state and county is she in?
I am in Blount. My case is out of Blount County, Tennessee, which is the neighboring county south of Knoxville. So that's where it all started for me.
Do you know Connie?
Connie Regule?
Yes.
I've spoken with her a few times. Yes, but I do not know her personally, no.
She's one of my heroes.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
High praise.
Yeah. I still carry that too, Mr. Davis. We have Connie on here as regular as she lets us. She's really busy now, but we still keep in touch with her. I keep that land open. So another thing that I've learned from you, one of your contacts, Mr. D. All right. Anybody else? Tiff, you got any questions for Jess? Oh, yes.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to tell you that my little grandson thinks you're a Barbie doll. So don't take that offensively.
I think that's a compliment.
Right.
There was someone, I believe it was in Indiana, I can't remember, but she actually got up and said, I don't know what's happening with the caffeinated Ken and Barbie, but it was insane. But anyway, well, maybe one day I'll get to meet your grandson and he can see I'm just a normal person and I'm not plastic. So
I think he means that
it's
you're
not
very
about
pretty.
that. You're very pretty to him.
I think that's what he's saying, is he thinks you're very pretty.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't mean anything
I'm
by
flattered.
it. Of course, not like that. And he's only 7.
Yeah, I'm flattered. Thank you.
Oh, it's the supermodel. Perfect. He knows what he's
The
doing.
children speak the truth, don't they? They open their mouths and they say the absolute God's honest truth without
Out of the
hesitation.
mouth of babes. Yep.
Yeah, if I had $1 for every time a little kid called me fat, I'd have at least $50.
Dude, I told my son I was 122 years old and he believed me. He opened his eyes. He said, "Dad, you are so old."
All right, let's bring him out. Mr. Lewis Ewing. I don't know which one he wants me to use here. Let's see. Which camera Lewis is on here?
Yeah, bring it on.
Is that one
I want to hear the disagreement and hear the evidence.
Here we go. Here.
Hear me? The other one, the phone.
You're back now, Lewis. We hear you.
Yeah, the phone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We
We're
hear
good.
you.
Okay. The disagreement I have with what everybody just said about attacking each other, I agree 100% if people are promoting valid, legitimate legal arguments. However, the problem the family law movement has right now is the same with a lot of other groups. There are sovereign citizens, patriots, patriots for profit, attention-seeking opportunists, and grifters who are coming into the movement and taking advantage of parents' ignorance of the law to scam parents out of money and teaching them wrong legal theories. Okay, so Mr. Davis, I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this. Rule 17 and Rule 20 are both court rules. Jessica Saxton and Tanoa Downing have been going into...
I'm sorry. I'm watching YouTube. Can you guys see me and Lewis?
Yes.
You
Yes.
can? Okay, I can't see me. Okay.
So
All
yes,
right, just wanted
we
to make
see
sure.
you. Go ahead.
Got
let me make sure that. Let me check that too.
I'm sorry, Lewis.
It's fine. So, Tanoa Downing, there's been numerous videos on Jessica Saxton's page, and you can look at it. And this is actually illegal for them to do what they're doing. It's a violation of the Tennessee Unauthorized Practice of Law statute. They're showing up at county council meetings, which is the wrong place. They're saying, you can listen to her tapes. I'm here under the authority of Rule 17 and Rule 20 by the United States Supreme Court. There's no such thing. They made that up. Neither Rule 17 and Rule 20 were drafted with the intent to make an appearance anywhere. You don't even go to court and say, Your Honor, I'm here under the authority of Rule 17 and Rule 20 by the United States Supreme Court. Listen to her videos. That's exactly what she says. Now, both rules are a legitimate court rule. Rule 17, when you read it, okay, you can file what's called a Rule 17 motion to name the real party in interest. So you're either asking the court or the other side to name the real party in interest. That's all it is. It's a court rule. You can make a motion out of it called a Rule 17 motion. Same thing with Rule 20 for permissive joinder. So if somebody has a vested interest in the case, they can file a Rule 20 motion for permissive joinder, asking the judge to allow them to join the case. And obviously it's discretionary. That's why it's called permissive joinder. It's a legitimate court rule. Now, what they've done is they've taken two legitimate court rules and turned it into what I call a frivolous sovereign citizen argument. The next two statutes that they're violating, 18 U.S.C. 241 and 18 U.S.C. 242, they are not self-executing statutes. They're not standalone statutes. Okay, both of those statutes require that you cite the underlying offense first. You're talking about deprivation of constitutional rights. So an example would be if a judge set a cash-only bail or no bail for something like driving on license, driving on spin, that would be illegal. Now, most state constitutions use the terminology all criminal offenses shall be bailable by sufficient sureties except for a capital offense, which is murder. That's the only situation in which a judge can say no bail or cash only bail. Okay, so that would be a deprivation of a constitutional right if they didn't give you a bail. And so you could also add 18 U.C. 241 and 18 U.C. 242 after you cited or pleaded what the underlying specific statutory violation is. You cannot cite those statutes by themselves. They are not standalone statutes. They're not self-executing. The example I give to everybody, look, it's like they put frosting in the cake can without putting in the cake mix. They forgot to put the cake mix in first. You don't just put frosting in the cake pan. So it's frivolous to go in front of a crowd of people and start reading off the penalties, $10,000, and the penalties, death. You know, you're stirring up the emotions of all the parents who are upset about losing their children, and you're giving them false hopes, and you're spouting off a bunch of nonsensical legal gibberish at a county council meeting.
All right, Louis, your 2 minutes is up, bub. 2 minutes right there. Hold up.
That was entirely too much for us to have an organized discussion. You just made like 100 different points, accusations, including some disparaging labels like grifter.
Hold up.
And I can't imagine this poor woman has the time to respond to every single thing you just said.
It's okay. Yeah, he's Louis, you're very good at talking very quickly, which I am not, because I'm from the South, and so that's something that I had to learn. So speed up how I talk. So I hear what you're saying, Louis, and I understand why you would say these things, especially if you have studied the general and typical traditional practice of law, which it sounds like that you have for, I think you said 20 plus years, 25 plus years. So for a very long time. So you would be considered to me like I'm walking in to go and debate a seasoned attorney, even though I guess you're not an attorney, but you're licensed to practice and you've been admitted into the bar. I don't quite understand that, but I would like to approach, you say that we are going to county commissioners and that I am saying that I am acting under the authority of the United States Supreme Court and that I'm providing that notice with under Rule 17 and Rule 20. I don't say with the authority of Rule 17 and Rule 20. The way that I present that every time, you'll never find me say exactly what you said. What I say is that we are providing notice in accordance with the United States Supreme Court, Rule 17 and Rule 20. Being in accordance and under the authority of are two very distinct differences. So when I'm doing something in accordance with, all I'm doing is reminding the lowest county level, the state level, I'm reminding them that we have a Rule 20. We are going to attempt to invoke Rule 17 and Rule 20. Rule 17 is the original jurisdiction. Rule 20 is under extraordinary writs. So we literally are attempting to make sure that we isolate all of our state remedies, local and state remedies, in order to get into the Supreme Court. Now, the argument for our basis is based under Article 3 of the United States Constitution. And specifically, paragraph 3, I believe, where it talks about that a state cannot be a party in the case, that any time that a state is a party, that the Supreme Court has original jurisdiction. Well, as of Wednesday, during my hearing in Blount County, Tennessee, I had an attorney that wrote on paper that he was a state agent. He literally wrote that in a motion to quash my subpoena for him to be questioned. He wrote in there admitting that he was a state agent. When I had been yelling for the last how many years that the state is a party to this case, you guys don't have jurisdiction. So I understand that it's atypical, okay? I understand that for the last however many years, this isn't how people have done things. And I think that that's okay, especially when the things that have been approached, the different strategies that people have taken are not really producing the outcome that people want. And so I don't think that now is the time to kind of get in line and do the same thing that we've been doing for the last 25 years. That's where this atypical, asymmetrical, different strategy comes into play. And that's what I'm here to present to the American people.
All right.
As far as 18 USC 241 and 242, I have confirmation from a federal agency that the way that we are presenting this is factual. And especially when it comes to to state agents, people that are acting under the color of law, that the state agents are under that federal authority. And you were right in what you said regarding kidnapping being a secondary offense too. But that first 18 USC 241 and 242, the first offense would be 242. The second offense would be the 241 if there are more than one people conspiring against your rights. And then in the event that kidnapping occurs, that would be the secondary offense to the first offense. So you are correct about that, but to say that it is not applicable to state agents would be factually incorrect.
Right.
Lastly, I do not charge, if you will, I don't charge anybody. I've never entered into an agreement with anyone to represent them in court, to look over their cases, to help them write motions. What I'm doing is collecting evidence, and we're using this evidence to expose the corruption at the county level, all the way up to even the federal courts and some of these judges that are in federal courts. So I'm not practicing law at all. I would love for someone to produce a receipt that says that I charged them for something and be able to tie it directly back to me, because unfortunately I do know that there are some scammers out there, but I've offered to have forensic evaluations, financial forensic investigators come in, look at all of my devices, go through everything, every nook and cranny, to literally separate myself from these scammers, because people are being scammed under my name and it's not me. So just be careful out there. If you get a message from someone that looks like me asking for money, it is not me. So, and that's all I have to say for now.
Mr. Davis, do you got anything to say at this point about what they're both saying there on those rules 17 and 20?
Well, one more
Yes.
thing. One more thing.
Hold on, let Mr. Davis.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Well, you're asking for his response to the Rule 1720. I wanted to fill in one thing.
Mm.
Rule 17 and Rule 20 has nothing to do with county council meetings. So she's not in accordance. So she's swatching out the words and saying she's in accordance. She's not. There's no such thing as being in accordance with Rule 17 and Rule 20 in a county council meeting. It's frivolous.
All we're doing is providing a notice.
Mr.
Okay,
Davis.
so we're providing the notice to the county commissioners, because county commissioners are an extremely powerful body of legislatures that have the power to make some corrections in the local community. So it's not a court. I understand that we're not going into a court to present these as evidence to a judge. I understand that, but we need to make them aware. This is also part of the education process, even to the county commissioners and the city councilmen, that this is a big deal. These are issues that are happening in your local jurisdiction, and you guys have the power to correct some of it and apply pressure at this state legislative body. You guys have the power to do that, or stop funding CPS.
All right, let's hear what Mr. Davis has to say. Mr. Davis.
You both present very good with respect to the work that you do. It's hyper technical, and what I think that you guys both should do, continue what you are doing, but add a component to your service or to the help you give people. And that component is start accumulating votes, accumulating people that you can call on to go to the ballot box and make real change. I've been doing this for over 35 years, 37 years, and I can tell you that sometimes when you get lost in the technicalities of the law, it's a trap. It's a trap that CPS sets and you fall into.
Mm-hmm.
Continue what you're
Well said.
doing, but get people together on a database in your state, in your county, in the country that can get together and vote. I don't know if you guys know this, but all of these laws in every state and county are based on federal regulations, not even federal laws passed by Congress. They're federal regulations passed by an administrative body that all the states have to comply with because of the federal money. Get your congressman or your congresswoman together and talk to them, lobby them for change. Here's one change that I would suggest. ICWA has some very stringent laws with respect to when you can take an Indian child away and what you have to prove to keep that child away. That shouldn't just be for American Indians, it should be for all American citizens. Give these people, these parents, the right to vote, the right to have a jury trial,
Mhm.
right? Give them the right to, you know, leave out hearsay. I don't know about your state, and in my state, hearsay is admissible. That's an abomination to the evidence
Really?
codes. Yeah. Not
Wow.
only not only is hearsay admissible, but multiple hearsay is admissible. And the rule is if it's in the social worker report. But most trials that I do, judges tend to let in hearsay that's not even in the report.
Wow.
So you can only change that one way. It's not by marching. It's not by complaining. It's by getting people together and voting.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Davis.
That's the
All right.
very thing I've been saying for years myself. And every flippin' time I bring it up, some Yahoo leaps up to tell me why I'm wrong and it won't matter and they don't care and anything they can do to shoot that down. And brother, you have said exactly what needs to be said. We need to vote in the people that are going to do the damn job the way we, the people, need it to be done. And if one more thing very quickly, and then I'll yield to you, Darren, to go back to subject matter that's relevant and that we're talking about. My initial, Lewis, when my initial impressions of when you were describing your grievances or your disagreements was a hint of venom, bro. It was more than just I disagree with what you're saying. You used the term grifter. That's a harsh accusation. And I don't know this woman. I literally just met her. But I'm not getting one little hint, the tiniest hint of grifter. So I would ask you to rein that in and ask yourself if that is in fact justified, because I don't really believe it is. Maybe you disagree with her and maybe she's doing something wrong. Okay, I don't know. But grifter is pretty harsh, bro. You're slamming at that
It's
point.
spot on. It's spot on correct. And
How
I'd like
so?
to explain. Okay, I've made up when I get your email address, I've made up a list of 16 things that don't work. Now, I've been involved with the family law movement since 1999. Now, in 1999, I drafted a free CPS cannot search your house without a warrant flyer for all 50 states using all 50 states' constitutions and state statutes. I also wrote a free 18 U.S.C. 5033 invoke your child's right to remain silent flyer. These two flyers have caused dozens of children to be returned home. These flyers have caused dozens of children not to be even taken in the first place. Now, the list of things that I say that doesn't work: marches don't work, rallies don't work, protests don't work, with the exception of one unique case where Stu Peters did a shout out for Baby Cyrus in Idaho, and that's it. Signing petitions don't work. Speaking at county councils is a complete waste of time. Now, what Mr. Uh, um, Vincent Davis said, the legislature, okay, voting works, okay, if you can get people to vote on the subject. Okay,
I'm sorry,
passing
but how is
laws,
she a grifter? You're not answering my question. How
okay,
is she
okay,
a
got it.
grifter?
Got it. You go to a county council meeting and you speak and you ask for donations to get there to speak. At the end of the meeting, no child is returned home. What's next? Okay. When are we going to stop CPS? When are we going to get children home? And then they say, well, we want to go travel to the next county council meeting and we want more donations of money. Okay. Now they do a second county council meeting and speak, and they've posted it on Facebook, which is all about me, I, because these people are attention seekers. And so at the end of the second meeting, they got to speak. No children have been returned home. None, zero, zip, nada. What are we donating to?
You're just adding more accusations. These people are attention
No,
seekers. Is
no,
an
we're
accusation
adding more facts.
characterization. You still haven't shown me how she's a grifter.
Yes, go ahead.
Please
Can I
do.
respond to some of this stuff?
Sure.
So first of all, it should be known that aside from having a LinkedIn account, I was completely off of social media since 2017, just after my son was born. That being said, I don't have this strange desire to have some type of social media or spotlight or whatever. As a matter of fact, if it was up to me, I would crawl back in a hole and close all my social media accounts down, and I would never be seen again. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Amen. I'm right there with you, Jessica. Believe me.
Yeah, I really am doing this because people need something to believe in. And I'm not saying to believe in me. What I'm trying to do is make them believe in themselves. The county commissioner meetings, historically for us, for me, what it started was when I did my first county commissioner speech or public comment. I walked out of there and I was like, wow, that was really powerful. And the next one, same thing. I feel strong. I feel powerful. And so with that, I said, you know what? Everybody needs to feel this. Everybody needs to be reminded that they are the authority, that they have the power to speak, that they have the First Amendment right to speak, to petition their government. We need to start healing the person. So initially, the reason why we started going to county commissioners and city council and teaching people, encouraging people, training people was an attempt to heal the individual. That was the reason for the county commissioner services. And what that did was it allowed individuals to go up into an arena that was very similarly laid out as your court. We have so many parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles that are in court pro se because the court and the system has taken everything from them. They cannot find anyone to represent themselves anymore. They don't have the money to pay for a good attorney. And so now they're left having to learn and going to speak and speak for themselves. I mean, going to court and speak for themselves. And so I said, you know what? This was powerful for me. Let's start extending this. And that's when we started encouraging people to go to their county commissioners. And we've seen nothing but a positive outcome from that. Now we're literally building a boots on the ground, citizen-led army that is nonviolent, that is not interested in doing any type of illegal acts, simply going before your county commissioner, reminding them that they are under oath, reminding them that we the people are the authority and we pay for them to act in our best interest, not in their best interest, reminding them that the laws of this country are there to protect the people from the government, not the government from the people. And in doing that, building the individual along the way. If you want a healthy country, you have to have a healthy individual. And so the psychological, emotional welfare of the individuals, that's really where this actually started. Now it turned into being something that we could point back to months later saying, hey, this county commissioners, they were made aware at this day and at this time. They received 250 affidavits stating crimes that the judges in that county, the sheriff's department in that county had committed against the citizens of that specific county. So it is on the record. We literally are putting this on the record so that they cannot deny that they were not aware. They have been made aware. What did they do about it? Nothing. Well, that's not our problem. You guys had a duty to report these crimes. You had a duty to make sure that this was not being funded and paid for to deprive these families and children of their rights secured by the Constitution. So as far as grifting, I have worked since I was 16 years old. And I have not ever not worked. I've never been on, system government funds or anything like that. And I'm not saying that I'm not disparaging anyone who has. I'm not looking down on anyone who has. I'm just telling you what I have not. I have always worked, and I have a very high standard regarding my work ethic. And so to some degree, I'm frustrated that I even have to sit here and defend myself against this, but I self-funded this for as many months as I could. I self-funded over $10,000 myself, and I didn't realize that it was going to turn into this. I didn't set out trying to build a movement. That was the last thing on my mind. It literally was something that just happened over time until I'm like, wow, I can't self-fund anymore. I've donated all of my cash. Anything left that I had in retirement accounts or any type of funding, anything that I had left went to this. So to say that I'm grifting is it's malicious. And I feel that I feel like in the end, after all of this, people are going to choose, really. This isn't going to be a coming together, unfortunately. People are going to choose, who's telling the truth, who's not, who's being malicious and who's not. And I'm okay with that. But I have to have a way to get around the country. Even right now, I looked this morning, I have like $213 to my name. If I was grifting, I would be asking for money every single time I ever got online. I never ask for money at these county commissioners, city council meeting. I only post videos asking for money when I'm down to my last, couple of nights or whatever. And even then, I still sleep in my car. Grifters don't do that. It's crazy.
Tiff,
The last thing is that for me, this is a ministry, and I follow my Lord and Savior is Jesus Christ. And if I am going to answer to anyone one day, it's going to be him. And if I have done something that was wrong, either with money or financially, I'm trying to, get some money from some people who don't have money in the end, then I know that I'm going to be held accountable for that. And that's not ever going to be the case. So anyway,
Tiff,
I'd
I'd like to
I can't
put a
remember
cap on
everything.
that.
hold on. Tiff's got something to say here. Tiff, go ahead.
You muted me.
Oh, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. My bad. You're unmuted now.
Now you're not muted. Now is your
Okay.
chance.
So I do disagree, and I'm going to tell you why I disagree with one part of Lewis, and I've talked to him about this. My little protege, I love her. My little Claire has spoken at all the town hall meetings. Okay, everybody that was involved in her case has quit, been fired, left the state. They're under investigation now. They shut a whole CPS department down here in Virginia because these people were coming to town hall, bringing receipts. This is what happened. This is what happened. I proved my point. So the town hall things, they do work. And
Okay.
Jessica, they're not putting them on notice like you are, but I'm telling you, they are very, very powerful.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Tiff,
true. And
Tiff,
if one more thing, just really fast. We have had reportedly, we've had over 10 judges that have recused themselves from individual cases after serving these notices. So that's one thing. We also have had state representatives that have reached out to us due to these services and asked what they can do. I'm not at liberty to say, but you're going to see some judges that are going to be on the docket for being impeached through the legislative branch. And that was a direct result of these services that we provided. And here's the thing, it's not all me. Many of these counties where we had all of the families show up, 70 plus families or individuals showed up in Beaufort County, North Carolina, Maricopa County, Arizona. There are a lot of families that showed up there. It's the families, it's the people that are coming together to really raise some noise. But you're going to see, I believe, very, very soon, one state that's going to have several judges put on at the legislative level to impeach these judges because of the evidence that we gathered. And that's all we're doing. We're gathering evidence, we're presenting it to the county commissioners and letting them say yay or nay, and holding them all accountable. So that's it. And I'm glad that you had success, Tiffany.
Mr. Davis.
Your little mini-me.
So we have someone that asked. They said you didn't answer this. Can you please go and I don't know if you were going to add something or you were going to explain the 17 and the 20.
Can you hear me?
Do you have anything to say on that? Like those two? Yes, sir. We can hear you. Do you have anything to say on the rule 17 and 20 and the way that it's used? Do you know what they're speaking about? Do you have anything that you can apply to that conversation? As far as like, is he right? Is Lewis right? What he's saying? Is Jessica right? What she's saying? Are they using these rules 17 and 20 as properly? Or are they out of context or someone misunderstanding? Do you have anything on that, Mr. Davis?
Yes, I can tell you that they are both using the rule in a way that advantages them. One of the things I've learned at the age of 67 and practicing law for almost 40 years is that the law is not black and white. And it's the job of the advocate to use the rule to further their agenda or to further their arguments for their client. I can tell you one thing, that these two people would help more people if they worked together. Now, the young lady said, I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I'd ask her to reconsider because you both have valid points and you both can help each other. And I know you've heard this before, 2 is better than 1. So consider that. You guys are not enemies. We have an enemy. It's called CPS. Focus on that, not on each other. And by the way, as an attorney, I charge money. I saw a couple of my clients on this broadcast. You can ask them. So I don't have a problem asking for money if you're providing a service to someone. And young lady, if you don't get any money, you will dry up and you will blow away and you won't be able to help anyone. So you better figure
I
out,
refuse.
you had better
So
figure.
I refuse to accept money, and the reason why is because there are some families who have more. There are some individuals who can help the cause, and there are some families that cannot. And so I'm not going to be part of this traditional system where pay to play. That is not for me. I am here to cause some type of a systemic change. I want to try to get this so that it's an even playing field across all of the states and all the counties for all the families. And so I'm not going to deprive one family from having the same type of services, if that's what you will, because they cannot pay. And so it's against what God has charged me to do, honestly. And I am in a position where if I don't have the funding that I need, then that's maybe God's going to tell me to go back to Tennessee and get a job and be a contractor for the next, government or whatever. I'm just saying, I'm going to wait until I don't have the financial means anymore. And then that will be God telling me to move on. And that's it. So
I disagree with you because God's not going to tell you that. But if you think he's telling you that, that's between you and God. But you could help a lot of
provide
people.
the funding.
Okay.
Mr. Davis, I feel like you ignored Darren's question. So I'd like to ask you some yes or no questions. Does Rule 17 say anything about making an appearance at a county council meeting, yes or no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Does Rule 20 say anything about making an appearance at a county council meeting, yes or no?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is Rule 17 a court rule, yes or no?
It depends on what state you're in.
Well, there are a few states that have a similar rule about naming the real party in interest, and they do use a different number. But the fact is, most states use Rule 17 to name the real party in interest, correct?
What set of rules are you referring to?
The civil rules. And you can look at the federal civil rules of procedure, Rule 17.
Okay, hold on a second. There is something called the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure.
Yes.
They apply primarily to is in the U.S. District Court and the U.S. Court of Appeals.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
People have talked about going to the U.S. District Court. A county council meeting or a city meeting is not the U.S. District Court. By
there you go.
Definition, if you look at, I think it's FRC. I think if you look at FRC or something like that, those rules only apply
100%
to the U.S. District Court. Now, I don't want to say they don't apply elsewhere because they've been adopted by, maybe some tribe or something like that. But where I am in California, I'm licensed in California, and when you talk about the federal rule procedure, you're talking about going into the U.S. District Court or the Federal Court of Claims. You're not talking about, county council,
yes,
county
that's my point exactly. But that's my point exactly. So
have their those
you just made my point.
By the way, have their own rules of procedure.
You just made my point. Federal Rule 17 applies to federal courts, and the state Rule 17 applies to state courts, correct?
Well, each state
Can you
has
hear
their
me? Hello?
own rules. Like
Yes.
the rules in can you hear me? Okay, the
Yep,
rules in
we're there. Yep.
California state court are called the California Rules of Court. They are not the
Yes.
federal rules of civil procedure. They're similar, but they're not the same. So you have to. That's why I asked you. You said, do the rules apply? Well, what venue are you talking about?
Right. And that's
Right.
what we're
But
talking
we're talking about a court as
If you go,
opposed to a county council
if you,
meeting.
But why is she not allowed
which
to
court, a
talk about
state
that at a
court or a
county
federal court?
council meeting? Your objection is she's bringing these things up at a council meeting, and I'm still waiting for why is that bad?
Because
I
it
didn't
doesn't
say it was
apply.
bad.
You're in the wrong venue. You're in the
I'm
wrong
not
bat
talking to
channel,
you,
the
Mr.
wrong
David.
bat
I'm
time.
talking to Louis Ewing. He is very apparently really unhappy with the fact that she's doing this. I'm still waiting for why is it bad? Why you said it doesn't apply. If it gets her traction, if it gets results, why wouldn't she use it?
See, you just proved my point. It's not getting any results of any children returned home. Zero.
That's not a scientific statement. Again, why wouldn't she use it? You're saying no kids get returned home as a direct result of her using that in a county council meeting. That doesn't mean it's not a good thing to do, or that she's not wise to do it, or that it's not somehow gaining a traction or a positive effect. And you still haven't proven your accusations, your very harsh accusations of grifting and self-serving. Show me the evidence.
Okay, show me the evidence of a child that's been returned home.
That's not an answer to my question.
All right, so
You're deflecting.
Mr. Davis.
You just deflected, dude.
No, because you're trying to change my question.
I asked a direct. Okay, I'm done. You've answered my questions. Thank you. No evidence of grifting. No evidence of being self-serving.
Mr. Devin.
Look at this. The parents are poor. They're low income, and they don't want to waste money contributing to something that's not going to get children home. They don't want to get ripped off. All the parents feel that way.
Mr. Davis.
Well,
okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, no, that's okay. I don't think it's fair to say that. Oh,
so what the question is this: if Jessica is going into the town council meetings, is she saying there that she's saying on? I don't want to misquote her. You're saying there as can you repeat it, Jessica? On accordance with the Supreme Court, right? Yes. Is she using those statutes? Is she misusing those statutes in the court to the town council with addressing her with whatever when they're putting these people on notice?
The purpose of Rule 17 is you're asking the court to name the real party in interest. That's the only purpose of Rule 17. You're asking the court to name the real party in interest. That's all it is.
But she said, she's making them aware that they can do something about this, and then explaining this, that they are part of this problem, right? So, Mr. Davis, I ask you, when she goes in and says she's doing this in accordance with what Rule 17 and Rule 20 are, yada, 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 I don't know them, is she misspeaking to people by quoting that?
The answer is no, not really.
Okay.
At the beginning, a few moments ago, I told you it's her job to use anything that she can to further her interests or her client's interests. Now, the person on the other side could stand up and say, hey, folks, this lady's quoting rules that don't apply to this venue. These are just arguments.
But it's a fact.
Well, you see, facts are a perception of the receiver. You can use authority like Rule 17 anywhere if it becomes persuasive in the mind of the listener.
Thank you. Well said. Perfectly said. You use what works. You use what's effective.
Correct.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been on Vincent Davis' show. It's been a long time. I don't know if you remember Mr. Davis. I used to come on with Amanda all the time. And at that time,
I do remember you.
Right. I didn't say a lot, but I've been doing this for as long as you. And I got to tell you, I do what works for me and my parents. And I've said it on here multiple times, and people still contact me and say, oh my God, what do I do? Now, I'm not in the courtroom every day because, of course, I own a business, so I have to work. The absolute best advice that I can give people, and the absolute 82% of the time that works without a lawyer, is you find somebody to go behind CPS's back, and I do this all the time, and it works 82% of the time all across this country because I advocate on the Constitution. Is get somebody to go down and file a motion to intervene and an emergency custody hearing. That is how I get kids out of foster care. No attorney, no nothing. I find somebody to do it. They get if they are put in foster care on Friday, they're out by Monday, and the following week, the emergency custody hearing has already been decided. The magic is you got to beat them to the courthouse. The first one to the courthouse wins. Not only that, no child, no CPS case. The case is closed. That is how we win. But, Jessica, you do what works for you. Because I'm telling you, and we play these all the time. My little mini me goes to these town hall meetings. She says names, she has dates, she has proof, and this woman is whooping asses over here. Praise
That's awesome.
God.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Another point I wanted to raise too, that Jessica keeps talking about non-existent emolument violations, and I'm going to warn everybody: if you raise frivolous arguments in court, sovereign citizen arguments in court, the judge will stop that person from speaking, and they will force counsel on them. They're going to lose their right to represent themselves pro se. And here's another thing: I want you guys to look up this lady's name, Neely Blanchard. She followed the advice of a sovereign citizen who invented the E-clause. The emolument clause argument was a guy named Christopher Hallett. She got inside information that Christopher Hallett was working with CPS to help steal people's children. She shot and murdered Christopher Hallett right in the face. And Neely Blanchard right now is serving life in prison because she killed a sovereign citizen. And that's 100% his fault. Okay, so if you're teaching people frivolous arguments, you're the cause of them to lose their children. As far as I'm concerned, Christopher Hallett deserved to die. And so does anybody else who teaches wrong arguments.
That's, again, pretty strong language, Louis. But just to clear the
I believe
record,
in it, 100%.
I do not present myself as a sovereign citizen. I was actually interrogated and detained by Homeland Security back in July for someone falsely making an accusation against me, threatening a judge. And when I was detained, that was one of the questions that they asked me. And I thankfully, I had all of my evidence for court there. So I was actually able to show the Homeland Security officer who was asking me all of these questions, the evidence that I had against the judges, the guardian ad litem, the attorneys, the clerk of court, all of these things. And it was funny how that was flipped, because by the time I finished with my interrogation, he was referring me to go directly to the FBI that evening based off of all of the evidence that I had there, because I was prepared for court. But he asked me specifically, do you classify yourself to be a sovereign citizen? And I said, no, why would you say that? And he said that